Well, if you pre-ordered the digital physical bundle of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, then today is your lucky day, because it is available through dndbeyond.com now. One thing I will say is that it does seem like a fairly extensive release, although I have not gone through the entirety of it as of yet. It is a little bit refreshing to see, considering some of the other releases we've had this year have been a little bit, we'll say, lacking. So today we're going to be going through a few of the new things that were included in this book, those being the new race being the Kender, the new backgrounds that were included, as well as the new features and the Sorcerer's Lunar Sorcery subclass. And as you may have also seen from the title of this video, I am also running a giveaway, which I do for every official D&D release, but you'll have to stay tuned to the end of the video for details on how you can enter that. So let's start things off by looking at the Kender, which is the new race. These are essentially humanoid gnomes that were transformed by gods and given this form of like supernatural curiosity and fearlessness. It is actually pretty cool lore, I'm not gonna lie. As far as the Kender traits go, it does follow the same rules that were created with Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. Most notably for the ability score increases, you can choose to either give a +2/+1 to 2 ability scores of your choice, or you can do +1 to 3 ability scores of your choice. Otherwise, you're a humanoid, your size is small, your walking speed is 30 feet. As far as features go, the first one we have is Fearless. It says you have advantage on saving throws you make to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself. When you fail a saving throw to avoid or end the frightened condition on yourself, you can choose to succeed instead. Once you succeed on a saving throw in this way, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. I guess this is alright. Frightened is not usually the most debilitating of features, though I guess if you're fighting a lot of dragons with a frightful presence, which could make sense in a Dragonlance campaign, it can be pretty good, but you do only get to do it once. In any case, it's pretty good, it's nothing to complain about. Next up is Kender Aptitude. It says, thanks to the mystical origin of your people, you gain proficiency with one of the following skills of your choice: Insight, Investigation, Sleight of Hand, Stealth, or Survival. Again, I'm never going to complain about getting a free bonus proficiency, so I'll definitely take one of those. And a lot of them, they do seem to make sense given the context and the flavor of the class, so I like that. The final feature is called Taunt. It says you have an extraordinary ability to fluster creatures. As a bonus action, you can unleash a string of provoking words at a creature within 60 feet of yourself that can hear and understand you. The target must succeed on a wisdom saving throw, or it has disadvantage on attack rolls against targets other than you until the start of your next turn. The DC equals 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma modifiers. Choose this when you select the race. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So initially, this does jump out to me. It kind of reminds me of the Battlemaster Fighter's goading attack. Obviously, it does have some different restrictions, but it is kind of nice to see some of those abilities and some of those features kind of trickling out into other areas of the game. I'm actually a really big fan of that. As far as the feature itself goes, honestly, I like it. It's pretty good, it's flavorful, and it's pretty famously difficult to be like a tank in D&D, so having some way to kind of potentially mitigate some attacks on your parties, it can really, really go a long way to being really helpful. So I like it. Kender, overall, pretty good race. I'm a fan. So next up, we're going to take a look at the backgrounds, and notably all of these come with bonus feats, and some people may or may not be fans of that, talking about power creep and all that sort of thing, but in any case, we're just going to go over that today. So under the bonus feats section, it says, whatever background you choose for a character in a Dragonlance campaign, you get bonus feats as detailed below. Characters involved in the War of the Lance or other conflicts of Kryn are changed by the dramatic experiences they face. So it is important to note that they do specify that these are related to a Dragonlance campaign, so obviously anyone can choose to waive that, but they are intended to be exclusive to use for a Dragonlance campaign. So it's not that everyone always gets bonus feats now, it's just specifically for characters that were created to be used in a Dragonlance campaign setting. So under the first level bonus feat section, it says, if you select the Knight of Solemnia or the Mage of High Sorcery background, you gain the feat specified in that background. If the background you choose does not provide a feat, you gain a bonus feat of your choice from the following list. Although it's not a very big list, you can either choose Skilled or Tough, both of which being from the player's handbook. Under the 4th level bonus feat section, it says, at 4th level you gain another bonus feat of your choice from either the first level list above or from the following list, and most of these are actually new to the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen book, which we will be going over all of these feats later on in this video. So taking a look at the first background, this is the Knight of Solemnia. Again, notably the prerequisite being a Dragonlance campaign setting. Again, anyone could opt to waive that restriction, but it is notable that they chose to specifically call that out here. As far as skill proficiencies go, you gain proficiency with athletics and survival, you gain 2 languages of your choice, and you get a few pieces of equipment. You do gain the bonus feature, which is a new one, the Squire of Solemnia, so let's take a look at that here. So the Squire of Solemnia feature, prerequisite again, Dragonlance campaign, fighter or paladin class, or the Knight of Solemnia background. So with the Squire of Solemnia feat, you gain 2 additional abilities. The first being Mount Up. It says mounting or dismounting only costs you 5 feet of movement. And the second being Precise Strike. Once per turn, when you make a weapon attack roll against a creature, you can cause the attack roll to have advantage. If the attack roll hits, you roll a d8 and add the number rolled as a bonus to the attack damages roll. You can use this benefit a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, but the use is expended only if the attack hits. You regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. This is obviously really good. It's interesting to note that it does not have the requirement of being mounted. I would have kind of expected that based on the mount up feature, but it does not. That's obviously just a really good feature, especially the fact that it only expends it if it's successful. Not really much else to say about that. That's really, really powerful. Continuing on, you do get a little bit of a tree that kind of builds for the Squire of Solemnia feature. Next up being the Knight of the Crown, the prerequisite being 4th level and having the Squire of Solemnia feat. You get an ability score increase this time, so you can choose to either bring up your strength, dex, or con by 1 to a maximum of 20. You also get Commanding Rally. As a bonus action, you can command one ally within 30 feet of yourself to attack. If that ally can see or hear you, they can immediately make one weapon attack as a reaction. If the attack hits, the ally can roll a d8 and add the number rolled as a bonus to the attack's damage roll. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Again, very similar to another Battlemaster feature. I do still think that it's cool that these features are kind of starting to bleed their way out into other areas of the game. Next up is the Knight of the Rose, another 4th level feature. As far as ability score increases go, you can increase your Constitution, Wisdom, or Charisma by 1, and you also get Bolstering Rally. It says, as a bonus action, you can encourage one creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. You can choose yourself. If the target can see or hear you, the target gains temporary hit points equal to 1d8 plus your proficiency bonus, plus the ability modifier score increased by this feat. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain them all when you finish a long rest. So, I mean, yeah, this is a pretty solid way of being able to deliver temporary hit points if your party's lacking a healer or if you're in between rounds and it's getting particularly dire. This can definitely come in clutch in the right situation. Lastly is the Knight of the Sword. This is another 4th level feature. The ability score increase this time goes to either Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma by 1. And you also get the ability Demoralizing Strike. Once per turn, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack roll, you can attempt to frighten the target. That target must make a Wisdom saving throw, DC equals 8, plus your proficiency bonus, plus the ability modifier of the score increased by this feat. On a failed save, the target is frightened of you until the end of your next turn. On a successful save, the target has disadvantage on their next attack roll, and it makes before the end of its next turn. You can use another proficiency bonus times per long rest as well. Obviously, like I said about the Kender feature, Frightened is not usually the most debilitating, so this is not great, I guess. What is kind of cool is the fact that even if it does fail, they do succeed on their saving throw. You still do get some benefit from it here. They at least have disadvantage on their next attack roll, which it's more than nothing. So the next background to look at is the Mage of High Sorcery. Again, the prerequisite being that it's in a Dragonlance campaign. Something to note is that these are kind of based around 3 different orders, being the Benevolent Order of the White Robes, the Balance Pursuing Order of the Red Robes, or the Ruthless Order of the Black Robes. So we're going to take a look at each of these and what they kind of mean and what they offer. So as far as skill proficiencies go, you gain proficiency with Arcana and History. You gain an additional 2 languages of your choice, and again, you gain some various pieces of equipment. So as far as features go, you get the Initiate of High Sorcery feature, and there's quite a bit to take a look at here, so let's get into it. The Initiate of High Sorcery feature has the prerequisite of being, obviously, again, in a Dragonlance campaign, being either a Sorcerer or Wizard class, or the Mage of High Sorcery background. Then it says you choose one of the 3 moons of Kryn to influence your magic. The Black Moon, Nuitari, the Red Moon, Lunatari, or the White Moon, Solinari. You learn 1 cantrip of your choice from the Wizard spell list, and 2 first-level spells based on the moon that you choose as specified from the Lunar spells table. So the Lunar spells table here being here for Nuitari, you can either choose Dissonant Whispers, False Life, Hex, or Ray of Sickness. For Lunatari, you can take Color Spray, Disguise Self, Featherfall, or Longstrider. And Solinari, you can choose Comprehend Languages, Detect Evil and Good, Protection from Evil and Good, and Shield. You can cast each of the chosen first level spells without a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast them in this way again. You can also cast these using spell slots if you have, as kind of been consistent since Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, at least. Your spellcasting ability for this feature is either Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. You choose when you select the feat, which has been consistent for quite some time now. But then it does kind of go down into a little bit of a tree, sort of depending on which one you go. So then it has the Adept of the Black Robes, prerequisite being the 4th level Initiative High Sorcery, provided you took the New Atari features. So you choose the Moon New Atari to influence your magic, and your ambition and loyalty to the Order of the Black Robes has been recognized, granting you these benefits. Ambitious Magic. You learn one 2nd level spell of your choice. The 2nd level spell must be from the Enchantment or Necromancy School of Magic. You can cast this feat's 2nd level spell without a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast it in this way again. You can also cast a spell using spell slots you have of the appropriate level. The spell's spellcasting ability is the one chosen when you gain the Initiative High Sorcery feat. So being able to gain a 2nd level spell that you can cast for free is obviously really powerful, so not really a lot to complain about that. Next is the Life Channel feature. It says you can channel your life force into your power of magic. When a creature you can see within 60 feet of you fails a saving throw against the spell that deals damage that you cast, you can expend a number of hit dice equal to the level of the spell. Roll the expended hit dice and add them together. The damage the creature takes increases by the amount equal to the total. Honestly, that's actually really cool. It's a really unique way of using hit dice. That's something that I know that the Jeremy Crawford and a lot of the designers have talked about, is interesting ways of using features and using things that exist on the character sheet itself. And empowering spells through the use of your hit dice is pretty cool. I do kind of like that. Yes, it's probably really good. But I like it. I'm a fan. That's pretty cool. Next up being the Adept of the Red Robes. Again, prerequisite being the 4th level, but this time taking the Lunatari feature. I think these are all going to be exactly the same, except, yeah, so it is exactly the same. You get to choose another 2nd level spell of your choice, but this time they can only be from either the Illusion or the Transmutation School of Magic. And then you do get a different feature otherwise here, Magical Balance. When you make an attack roll or an ability check and the roll is 9 or lower on the d20, you can balance fate and treat the roll as a 10. You can balance fate in this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Obviously, this is very similar to the Rogue's Reliable Talent feature. Whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. There's obviously some sort of feature bleed happening, which may lead to some classes feel like they're losing a bit of an identity. It's not really the point of this video. I'm just sort of going over these features as we see them. Next up being the Adept of the White Robes. Everything else is exactly the same. Again, you get a free 2nd level spell, but this time they have to be from the Abjuration or Divination Schools of Magic. Then you get Protective Ward. When you or a creature you can see within 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to expend a spell slot and weave protective magic around the target. Roll a number of dice equal to the level of the spell slot expended and reduce the damage of the target taken by the total number of those dice plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Honestly, again, pretty good. Not really too much to write home about here. I feel like it could be potentially powerful, but I mean, at the point that you'd be having high-level spells, it's probably less impactful anyway, but it's really good. That can definitely come in clutch to save some low-level characters, I'm sure as well. So overall, pretty good. The Initiates of High Sorcery feature is definitely one to watch out for. It looks pretty good. So the only other feat that's added outside of the other two that we've already discussed from the backgrounds is one called Divinely Favored. This does require you to be 4th level and to be playing in a Dragonlance campaign. It also says you learn one cantrip of your choice from the Cleric spell list and one 1st level spell based on the alignment of your character, as specified in the alignment spells table below. You also learn the Augury spell. So if you're evil, you can choose one Warlock spell. If you're good, you can choose a Cleric spell. And if you're neutral, you can choose a Druid spell. You can cast the 1st level spell and the Augury spell without a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast either of these spells in this way again. But again, you can use your own spell slots available if you have. The spellcasting ability you can choose is either going to be Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma, and you can also use your Holy Symbol with it. So overall, I guess it's okay. I can't really see too many people picking this feature, to be totally honest. And even if they did, especially picking the evil option, I just don't know how many players actually have evil-based characters. But in any case, there it is, if that's what you want it to do. And the last thing to talk about is probably the biggest one, and that is the Sorcerer's Lunar Sorcery subclass. This has been getting a lot of discussion recently, people saying it's going to be completely overpowered, some people pre-banning it from their tables, but let's take a look here. First level, you get Lunar Embodiment. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown on the Lunar Spells table. Each of these spells counts as a sorcerer spell for you, but it does not count against the number of sorcerer spells that you know. So here we get 15 additional spells from 1st, 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th level based on different phases of the moon. So let's get a little bit more detail on that. It says, whenever you finish a long rest, you can choose what lunar phase manifests its power through your magic: full moon, new moon, or crescent moon. While in the chosen phase, you can cast one 1st level spell of the associated phase of that lunar spell once without expending a spell slot. Once you cast a spell in this way, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest. So whichever phase you're in, you can choose. Basically, you can either cast Shield, Ray of Sickness, or Color Spray once for free, and you can change it not at will, but every day. So that is really, really quite flexible. And just having an additional up to 15 spells that you know that don't count towards anything on your spell list already. Yeah, this is shaping up already to be really, really quite good. Also at 1st level, you get Moonfire. You can call down the radiant light of the moon on command. You learn the Sacred Flame spell, which does not count against the number of sorcerer cantrips you know. When you cast the spell, you can target one creature as normal, or target two creatures within range that are within 5 feet of each other. So again, turning Sacred Flame into a split spell, that's really good. Obviously unique to specific situations where there are two enemies that happen to be next to each other, so it's not always good, but it's probably pretty good. Next up at 6th level, there's Lunar Boons. The current phase of your lunar embodiment can affect your metamagic feature. Each lunar embodiment phase is associated with certain schools of magic, as shown here. Full moon is abjuration and divination spells. New moon is enchantment and necromancy spells. The crescent moon is illusion and transmutation spells. Whenever you use a metamagic on a spell of a school of magic associated with your current lunar embodiment phase, you can reduce the sorcery points spent by 1 to a minimum of 0. You can reduce the sorcery spent for your metamagic a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. That is honestly just really good. Being able to manipulate a core class feature and reduce the cost that's really good. You get more at 6th level, Waxing and Waning. You gain greater control over the phases of your lunar magic. As a bonus action, you can spend 1 sorcery point to change your current lunar embodiment phase to a different one. You can now cast 1 1st level spell from each lunar phase of the lunar spells table once without expending a spell slot, provided your current phase is the same as the lunar phase spell. Once you cast a lunar phase spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. That's amazing. So now you can do it at will. So you can just expend 1 sorcery point, which you saved from any of these metamagic things, and you can change your phase of the moon, and you get free spells and additional spells on your spell list, pretty much at will at this point. And all that comes at 6th level. That's really good. All right, let's take a look at 14th level. Lunar Empowerment. The power of the lunar phase saturates your being. While you are in a lunar embodiment phase, you also gain the following benefits associated with that phase. If you're in the full moon, you can use a bonus action to shed bright light in a 10-foot radius and dim light for an additional 10 feet, or to douse the light. In addition, you and creatures of your choice have advantage on intelligence, investigation, wisdom, perception checks while within the bright light you shed. It's pretty good. I mean, there's nothing, I feel like comparatively just to everything we've just seen, it feels a bit lackluster, but there's not like it's bad. New moon, you have an advantage on dexterity stealth checks. In addition, while you are entirely in darkness, attack rolls have disadvantage against you. In crescent moon, you have resistance to necrotic and radiant damage. There's nothing wrong with any of these. These are all pretty good. I just feel like in comparison to everything we've just seen, it just feels very underwhelming. But this is really good. 18th level, Lunar Phenomenon. So obviously now we're getting to the point where most players will probably never play a character at this level, but let's take a look anyway. It says, as a bonus action, you can tap into the special power of your current lunar embodiment phase. Alternatively, as part of the bonus action you take to change your lunar phase using the Waxing and Waning feature, you can immediately use the power of your lunar phases you are entering. So you can either do this as a bonus action or as part of the same bonus action when you change your phase at will. So already this is looking really good. Full Moon, you can radiate moonlight for a moment. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC or be blinded until the end of its next turn. In addition, one creature of your choice in that area regains 3d8 hit points. New Moon, you momentarily emanate gloom. Each creature of your choice within 30 feet of you must succeed on a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC or take 3d10 necrotic damage and have its spell speed reduced to 0 until the end of its next turn. In addition, you become invisible until the end of your next turn or until immediately after you make an attack or cast a spell. Crescent Moon, you can magically teleport to an unoccupied space that you can see within 60 feet of yourself. You can bring along one willing creature you can see within 5 feet of yourself. That creature teleports to an unoccupied space of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of your destination. In addition, you and that creature gain resistance to all damage until the start of your next turn. Once you've used one of these bonus action benefits, you can't use that benefit again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 5 sorcery points to use it again. But you could use any of the other 2. Okay, yeah, so the Lunar Sorcerer is really, really good. This is not an analysis video, so I'm not going to go into depth on anything, but honestly, yeah. Alright, so that's it. That's been a look at the release for Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, but now it's giveaway time. So, as I always do to celebrate every official D&D release, I am running a giveaway where one person will be able to win a digital copy of Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen, available through dndbeyond.com. To enter, all you need to do is subscribe to the channel if you have not already, like this video, and this time let me know which of the upcoming releases for 2023 you are most looking forward to, if any at all. None is a totally viable option. Winners will be randomly selected from top-level comments on Tuesday, December 6, 2022, around 5 p.m. Eastern Time, but be sure to check the description for full details on all that. As always, this giveaway is not done in conjunction with D&D Beyond or Wizards of the Coast in any way. I'm doing this all myself, so best of luck to all those who enter, and take care.